Now that Mammy Judy and her friend Panam have finally released me from their clutches, I can get back to what I do best, making low-quality review videos. Unless... No, I must stay strong. My people need me. Today we are looking at The Medium, released by the infamous Polish mafia known as Bluebird Team. The Medium is a third-person psychological horror game. The mobsters have released a total of 18 videos meticulously put together to raise our hopes and get the hype train going by showcasing the dual reality system, followed by an RTX trailer, behind the scenes videos, trailers, and of course a sexy gameplay video. They told us we could use our psychic abilities to solve puzzles, uncover disturbing secrets, and survive encounters with the mob.
What is more?
The story is meant to be mature and, just like my life, morally ambiguous. This video will probably be full of juicy spoilers. I couldn't tell you for sure though, as I have just started writing this ginormous waste of a time of a script. Anyway, enough shit talk. Let's dive deep into the game itself and see for ourselves whether the medium is any good. Story.
Book my grandmother used to read me when I was a kid. This is a very special story. It's called Struwelpeter by Heinrich Hoffmann.
In the 7 or so hours you will spend with the game, you play as the Polish version of Elise from the critically acclaimed Insidious movies. The Medium takes place in Krakow, Uganda, and as soon as the protagonist, Marianne, stops talking shit, you can start exploring the motherland. Before I go any further, I have to say that there are a couple of things people have to understand before they get their hands dirty with Marianne and her shenanigans. This is not a spiritual successor to Silent Hill. The Medium is doing its own thing, and it does it very well. That thing being an intriguing storyline and sultry visuals, coupled with passable gameplay. Back to it then. In short, your stepfather dies in a suicide bombing or of old age, and you receive a phone call from a mysterious man who introduces himself as Thomas. He cryptically tells you that he knows what you did last summer. No, I'm getting things mixed up. He knows who you are, a psychic, and sends you on a Scooby-Doo type of an adventure to the now abandoned Neva resort in the Ugandan countryside. That's where most of the game takes place, albeit each area feels very distinct, so you're never stuck in the same boring looking room you've seen before. The story is fed to you through cutscenes, of which there are plenty, reading numerous notes and reliving other people's past experiences because you know, psychic. As Marianne crawls through the resort, she will come across a few different spirits. However, aside from the little girl and the villain who desperately wants to, and I quote, spread Marianne nice and wide and get inside her, the other characters are only with you for a brief moment or a cutscene. When the developer mentions the story being ambiguous, they only really refer to the very end, which felt somewhat bitter, much like playing Cyberpunk 2077 on your shitty old console. It's not a choices-driven game, but I feel like it could have been a more satisfying ending to our journey with Marianne had they given us a say in how it ends. As things are, the screen goes black and all you get is audio, as if to tell you, you decide in your own head how it ends. And I don't appreciate the burden, you feel? Show me exactly how it ends, and I'll be on my way. Before I reread the script, I had the screen goes black and all you can hear is audio written. Like there was a different way of experiencing noise other than fucking hearing it. Gameplay, cutting edge, revolutionary, and next gen don't make this game justice, as most of the time you're walking and reading. These fantastic moments are sometimes spiced up further by making you push waste bins, hold your breath, sneak and perform otherworldly cesarean sections over and over. Ah, to be in your shoes. My exceptional humor aside, if you value gameplay above everything else for whatever reason, be it brain damage due to lack of oxygen as you choke yourself with a belt while sticking your dick into a pencil sharpener far too often, or perhaps your attention span is like that of a fucking mongoose, then chances are you will not have a good time with Marianne. That's because while the story is interesting, the developer decided to take gameplay in the opposite direction. There are moments where you go, holy shit, this is cool, but ultimately the puzzles aren't all that difficult for someone whose white matter hasn't disintegrated from reading BuzzFeed articles and then sharing them on Facebook. I would say that the Medium's gameplay is passable. It gets the job done, and while the dual reality system is generally quite cool, the overall mediocrity is far too heavy for the aforementioned mechanic to elevate it. Credit where credit is due, dual reality system does keep things from progressing to stage 4 metastasized boredom, as oftentimes you'll have to pay close attention to both worlds simultaneously, so as not to miss anything. Sometimes doors will be blocked in real world, whereas in Spirit Realm, the passage is clear. That's where the out-of-body experience comes in, as you can leave your voluptuous female form hanging, while the supernatural part of you goes exploring and opening passages. This feels like the right time to mention that you don't get to choose when to enter the Spirit Realm. That is entirely scripted, which is likely a good thing, as I reckon entering it manually whenever you want to would artificially lengthen the game and make some sections a chore to get through. There are a few stealth sections in the game, however basic they may be. Those could have been made a little more challenging quite easily. As it is, you just wait for the enemy to pass and off you go. There is no depth to it. Bloober Team really could have made Marianne's psychic abilities shine by allowing you to use Spirit Blast to, for example, repel the main antagonist when and if he grabs you, provided you have enough spirit energy. Let me just quickly clarify before somebody says, oh, but you can do that. Yes, I know, but it's scripted and doesn't actually affect gameplay.
Hey, Marianne. You look like shit.
For the brave souls among us, get it? Whose testicles produce exuberant amounts of testosterone and are therefore ready to scrap with anything and anyone, at any time, any place. I have bad news. There is no fighting of any kind in this game. You walk and you hide. And that's that. Horror elements. The Medium is not a scary game, unless of course your own fucking shadow gives you heart palpitations, in which case it is terrifying. It does, however, have a tense atmosphere and a few adrenalizing moments. The setting is always just right, and I have to say it's a type of mature horror that not everybody will enjoy in much the same way as I don't get into granny porn, whereas it does seem enticing to a lot of strange individuals. I came across 2 or 3 jump scares throughout the entire game, albeit they weren't the cheap and shitty kind that the director of Grave Encounters is really fond of for some reason. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, if I may, it is my firm belief that The Medium is not a scary game. Instead, it relies on its atmosphere and scripted moments to do the majority of heavy lifting, and that does it for me. Grafika. Wizualnie The Medium jest ładnie wyglądającą grą. Ha! Got you that, didn't I? Don't worry, it's just a bit of Polish propaganda invented by yours truly to mobilize the nation against the West.
There you go. Eat up, champ.
The Medium, much like Marianne herself, is beautiful. Whether you're a fan of foliage, walls, Catholicism, booty, children, pavement, or the supernatural, The Medium has you covered. I would say that the worst aspect of its visual presentation are facial animations, which aren't awful by any stretch of the imagination. They're just not quite as next-gen as one could expect from a very linear, narrative-driven game. There is also some texture popping here and there, and most notably during the game's opening, which I found quite strange, as personally, I believe first impressions to be quite important. Apart from the previously mentioned facial animations, everything else is at the very least good. character models are solid, the environments as well as the special effects look great. I noticed that a lot of people complain about how demanding the medium and Marianne are. Yes, it is true that the game, unlike a neo-feminist, is quite needy in terms of sheer processing power. However, what you have to understand is that because of Marianne's psychic abilities, you are effectively asking your computer, or Xbox I guess, though I don't know why you'd ever buy that piece of shit, to render two worlds simultaneously. My Ryzen 3700 and RTX 2070 just about handled the game on ultra settings at 1080p. It did dip into noticeable 30s during some of the graphically heavier scenes, but overall it ran quite smoothly at 50 to 60 frames per second. The spirit realm is what the majority of people playing the game, myself included, dig the most. That's not to say that the real world doesn't look good, because it does. However, it is not quite as striking and intriguing as Upside Down, especially during certain moments, as they can be truly breathtaking. Music, sound effects, and voice acting.
Oh, fuck!
He's a professional.
Oh, fuck!
This is the one aspect of the medium that truly shines. Beautiful, tone-setting samba tracks accompany Marianne on her wacky adventure through the resort. Rightly so, I must say, as music was one of the main selling points of the game. So why don't we listen to some of these beautiful tracks together? Close your eyes. Breathe in. Breathe out. Imagine you're on a farm, being caressed by a donkey or some shit. And listen up.
Longer there. Voices fade in the air. In the corner of my eye, I see them move, so will I.
Sound effects are great, but since I'm drawing a blank here, staring at the script for half an hour, let's move on to voice acting, which is brilliant.
And your strength. He's fucking.
Hello? Are you all right?
Don't look at me! Wait, don't go!
Oh, God.
Don't leave me here. Alone. Naked. Laughing face. Wouldn't you? Special girl.
Stay the fuck away from me!
Let me try you on.
Broken record.
Don't run! Skin shoot.
Troy Baker and Kelly Burke truly make their characters pop and come to life. I was actually surprised that someone of Troy Baker's caliber took the gig of voicing the villain, considering the fact that Bloober Team isn't exactly a AAA developer. Not yet, at least. I must say, I did appreciate Graham Vick as Thomas and Vincent Lay as Henry very much as well. Of course, it would be remiss of me not to say that the rest of the cast doesn't sound great as well. However, the four that I have mentioned undeniably bring their characters to life.
No! You sick fuck! Let me out of here! Let me out!
They're still in there, Thomas. Will you show me now?
I will. Conrad. Whatever it takes. Thomas. I wasn't expecting you. Is everything all right, my friend?
Did you do it, friend?
Did I? What?
My daughter. My 13-year-old daughter. I entrusted her to you.
Thomas.
Did you do it?
I don't.
I found the sketchbook. Forced myself to look through it.
Should you purchase the medium? That depends on what you care about the most. If action-packed horror-themed gameplay is what you're after, then skip on ahead and wait for Resident Evil Village or Outlast Trials Tomb. On the other hand, if narrative-driven games with a tense atmosphere are your thing, then you can't go wrong with Marianne and her psychic bullshit. It is therefore my honor and privilege to award the medium 8 George Bucks out of 10 Polish mobsters. Expect a new video out in March, unless something horrible happens to me, in which case I will probably not make any videos for a while. Take it easy, and have faith in the omnipotent Allah, for he is the only Greek god capable of saving our mortal souls from the eternal sin. Sieg Heil, my Jewish brethren.
Oh, excuse me, Ricky. Ricky, I did see what you were doing. It felt good, didn't it? It's all right. We all have feelings like this sometimes. I'm just glad you're doing this in the privacy of your own room. When you're a little bit older, we'll have to talk more about these feelings and what causes them and how we can control these feelings. I'm sorry I intruded on your privacy. I'll be sure to knock next time, okay? Sorry I intruded on your privacy. It felt good, didn't it? I'll be sure to knock next time. I'll be sure to knock next time. I'll be sure to knock next time. I'll be sure to knock next time.